Hey everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host, and I'm so happy to be here. I hope you guys are having a good week. It's, I think, a bit of a tumultuous week if we listen to what the scopes are saying, and I do. So we'll see. First of all, I want to let you know that if you're listening live, it is the 7th of February, 2018. Of course, it's 10 a.m. Pacific time. So know that. I'm very glad to have you guys here. I want to let you know that we're over in the chat room, and you can get there by heading over to katie-weaver.com, clicking on the chat button, and you'll be redirected into the Facebook chat. So that's how you do that. It, of course, is a secret group, so you'll have to ask for entry, and we will gladly let you in. So that's how it all plays out. I actually have a special guest today, and he is... Let's see, I'm going to add him to my broadcast here on Facebook Live and then to the show here in just a minute too. But I do want you to know, if you asked for entry or if you're already in the chat room, you'll see that I am also doing Facebook Live today. So you can watch this broadcast via Facebook Live as well. If you are listening to an archive and you would like to have watched this, you can do so over at... over on YouTube, over on my YouTube channel, Domestic Mystic on YouTube. Incidentally, I would be honored if you would find Domestic Mystic over on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. I'm putting out videos frequently to connect with you guys there. It's pretty fun and I'm loving it. Also, if there's something you want to see happen over at Domestic Mystic, if there's a little tutorial that you want or there's a topic you want to see me talk about, let me know. I'm always looking for inspiration on that. So it looks like, so those of you that are watching the live stream, we do have my guest has come up now, so that's exciting. So he's going to be coming up on the phone lines here in a minute too, so I'm going to wait to introduce him until he does. In the meantime, we're going to dive in and talk about the magazine. So you guys know that I have a magazine that I publish every Monday. It is a compilation of work from myself and from all of my friends, well, not all of my friends, but some of my friends over at one2listen.com. So a bunch of contributors over there. It's pretty fun. So that's what the situation is. That's what the magazine's all about. If you'd like to find it, just head over to katie-weaver.com and click on the magazine button, and that will redirect you to the magazine. So that's how it works. But I'm going to put a link to it up in the chat room here so that you guys can follow with me. And we'll go from there. Maybe I am. You guys know Facebook. And if you know Facebook, you know Facebook isn't always so cooperative. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So if you look at the cover, I changed the cover up this month to give a little nod to Valentine's Day. And then, of course, there's always a note from me. And I have to say, there's a note from me. It reminded me about the Super Bowl. Did you guys watch? Do you care? Do you like the Super Bowl? Do you hate its guts? I love the Super Bowl. You guys know that I'm a ridiculous football fan. And so we were yelling for the Eagles, and I'll tell you why. It's because the Eagles have a brand new player, Jay Ajayi, or Ajayi. Seems to depend on the announcer. They say it both ways. But Jay Ajayi came from Boise State, and Boise State is our local college that we have followed forever and love and been to a million games. And our son has met Jay before, actually worked out with Jay before at camps. And so we've always been really excited to watch Jay head into the NFL. And so he has been playing for the Dolphins. So we became Dolphins fans for a minute. But then, of course, the Dolphins, I think maybe foolishly, transferred him this year over to the partway through the season. They transferred him over to the Eagles. And so we became Eagles fans overnight because of it. And so anyway, that's how it all played out for us to kind of follow the Eagles. So it was really exciting to see them win the Super Bowl because we just love Jay, and he played and he did a great job. And I feel like wherever he ends up, if he stays here at the Eagles now or if he goes somewhere else, he's just got a bright career. But he's a good guy. He's one of the good guys, and we just he's a great role model, and so that's why it was exciting for us. It was also exciting for me because we do a little bet every year. You have to predict what you think the sum of the final scores will be. So adding up the final score for both teams. And in doing that, I had guessed the closest. I didn't get it, but I got closer than anybody else did. And so I won our pot too. So how can you go wrong? Your team wins, you win the final pot. I'm basically rich. I won $17. Anyway, so that was our fun. That was our crazy weekend, but I hope that you guys had a great weekend as well. So running through the magazine, it always gives me a few things I want to bring up for you guys. It's kind of become a template for me of things I want to talk about. I have a weather report that I write for the 1-2 News show that happens on Monday here at 12radio.com. And the 1-2 weather report is a little peek at what the energy is going to predict or present to us every day. So how it works for me is I take it and I post it. I make it into an individual postcard, and I post the 1-2 weather report over at Instagram. So you can find that on Domestic Mystics Instagram page. You can also find it on 1-2 Radio's Instagram page. So if you're an Insta person, definitely find us over there. That's pretty fun. All right, so tell you about the 1-2 weather report. I'm going to skip Monday and Tuesday since we've already had them, but let's talk about today because I think you're going to want to know. The 1-2 weather report today says Wednesday, today has taken on a raw and harsh feeling that will leave empaths dashing for cover. This is a good day to stay home and take care of yourself. Do your best to avoid harsh people, media, and situations. You may take a lot of comfort in gentle music and creative endeavors. And if you're an empath, you know exactly the day I'm talking about, when you're feeling weird, out of your element, uncomfortable, all of the things that empaths tend to go through here and there. So that's basically what the 1-2 weather report says for empaths just for today. So if you're feeling weird, if you're feeling uncomfortable, that could be why. So just FYI on that, if you feel like staying home today, that could be why. Then Thursday, truth is unfolding today, and you will find yourself feeling more clear about various situations in your life. You will particularly feel like you have gained clarity around employment issues. You may be tempted to protect or elevate others. At this point, you would do well to worry about yourself only and accept the potential abundance and praise that's coming to you. You have earned it. Friday, there is a magical vibe in the air. You will likely feel compelled to connect with nature today. This would be a great day to take a hike or at least take a drive with your windows down. Breathe in the fresh air and allow the magic of the earth to permeate your spirit. You may find yourself feeling silly and wild as this energy pulses through you. Loving that. All right, Saturday, you may be tempted to struggle and swim upstream today. There are situations in your life right now that you are struggling against. Take stock of them today and consider why you are struggling and how you could change your pace to go with the flow. Sometimes it feels easier to carry heavy burdens of fear, anger, and grudges than it is to let them go. Whatever it is for you, now is a good and supportive time to stop swimming upstream. And Sunday, pay attention to your dreams today, as the energy is perfect for dream visitations, premonitions, and lucid dreaming. You just may receive the answers to some long-held questions. You may also receive some new inspiration along your path. I love that because, well, I love magical days and I love the magical energy. So I think our reward for putting up with some harsher energy earlier here in the week is that we are here. We're in a better place now. By the weekend, we get to have some magic. So hooray. So that's the 1-2 weather report. Of course, you can find the whole thing here in Luminous Magazine, or you can find it written daily for you over on Instagram. So I know that our host has finally come live here, our co-host. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on the lines. Let's see. We're having a little tech issue here. Yeah, I'm hearing myself twice.
I don't know what's going on.
He's going to fix it. See, this is what's great about having a producer as a husband and a producer as a sister, is that we can figure out the hard things, because then we can do more of them. So it's pretty cool. So I'm going to give him a minute to work out what the echo is here. I'll keep going here with the magazine. And because guess what? I didn't bring him on here to talk about the magazine. I brought him on here to talk about relationships. Boy, right? You guys might discover we have pretty different ideas about a lot of things, but that's okay. That may be our secret to success. We'll see. All right, so if you're in the magazine with me, you'll see my quiz that I posted last week. What is your empathic superpower? I think a lot of you guys have already taken it, but I wanted to make sure that you saw it. I think knowledge is power, and the more we understand ourselves, the better we do. So that was the point of having it there. All right, carnelian. That's the crystal of the week. It comes from Christy, of course. So she says carnelian supports anxiety, supports creativity, heals anxiety, that's better, gives strength during difficult family times. So if you are struggling with pulling out that creative vibe, carnelian is your go-to. But if you're feeling anxious, and I know a lot of you guys have been, carnelian's great for that. So good stuff. All right, Christy also brings us the angel, or the, nope, still getting that feedback.
Still?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he's getting it. Thanks for being our guineas, you guys. This is what happens when we have to get something figured out so that we can keep doing something better. It's very cool, actually. All right, that's better. Scott, can you hear me now? All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and no feedback.
Well, this might not work. Here's the situation. I'm on my headset that's repeating through the stereo. And you're going to have the same problem when I talk.
I just turned mine down, and I'm not hearing it now. Are you good now?
I don't know. I can't hear you through my headset. So I've messed with it. Oh, there we go. Now we're
okay.
back.
Now we're good. Are we good? Okay. Christy says we're both on air. We're good. Facebook
you
Live
feed hear any echo?
Good. No echo.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We're tech geniuses. We're not, but we figured it out. Okay. Someone who's watching Facebook Live, if you would be lovely enough to just put a little note in there, make sure that you guys can hear us, please, and then we'll know that we're good to go. So, perfect. In the meantime, I want to share with you. Perfect. Okay. I think we're set. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and share this from Christy, and then we'll keep moving. We just keep interrupting. This is the Kindred Spirit Energy Oracle card of the week that she so generously shares with us. It is Archangel Uriel. Archangel Uriel's primary message is emotions, looking for peace of mind, sacral chakra, expressing how you feel. The challenge could be feeling raw, pain, anxiety, and being blocked. The crystal is carnelian, of course. And the meditation. Dear Archangel Uriel, please surround me in your energy. Let it fill my soul like warm honey, bringing me peace and soothing my emotional pain. I read this over and over because I thought the idea of something soothing my soul like warm honey sounded like the most wonderful thing I could imagine. Don't you think? Yes, no?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize I was up again. Sure. Warm honey. Great.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I put you right on the spot. All righty.
I'm still trying to fix things on my computer, so sorry.
It's okay. We're we've got it straightened out. It's good. This is exciting because we've wanted to get this split screen straightened out so that we can do this in the future, like for 1-2 News and things like that. So lots of fun stuff that will come from, pioneering some tech. So we love it. We don't care if it takes a minute. All right. So the rest of the magazine I'm going to let you guys go through on your own because I don't want to waste too much time because I have a guest and because we've clearly gone to some great lengths to get him. I do want to share with you the tip of the week, and you'll find it over as a postcard in the magazine. The tip this week is how to make homemade rose water. So you'll hear in space clearing sometimes people tell you, or I tell you, to spray homemade rose water or rose water in your home after you clear. It's also a good product to just have to use for raising the vibration of any space because roses are the highest vibrating flower. They have the highest vibrating oil, and people liken their scent to the scent of angels. And so that's why we use rose water to help bring vibrations up in spaces. And so here's how you do it yourself. There's various ways to do it, but this is the way I do it. So in a small saucepan, you add 8 ounces of water and 1/2 cup of dried organic rose petals.
Or, if I interrupt, you can go out into nature and gather all the rose petals that you can possibly find and bring them home and do the same thing.
Yep.
And make it fun. A day's outing.
Yeah. Yep. Not, from your local rose garden. Because they
no
would hate you
dumpster
for that,
diving
and
either.
they're definitely not organic. We're talking about going out into the wild to gather wild roses. And you'll find wild roses in pink and in yellow and perhaps in white. So you'll have to, it's okay. Whatever color you can find is fine. But yeah, definitely. And we do that every summer. We drive up into the mountains and we gather a lot of wild rose petals, bring them home, dry them, jar them, and then we have them for various projects. And then we go back later in the year once those roses have turned into rose hips, and then we gather those and bring them home and dry them because Scott has a special tea that he brews for the kids when they have
when they're sick.
Yeah. They'll ask for Dad's specialty, and Mom has no idea how to make it, so he has to do it. And it's this. I think it's this sweet nurturing thing that you do for them. That I don't know if it's the tea or if it's the effort, but it always tends to make kids feel better.
I think it's the way that the house smells after or during while it's cooking.
Right. Well, and so what's in Dad's specialty?
Water and rose hips and honey, natural or honey from bees that were our bees that I've had for like 9 years.
Yeah, we raised bees for a short time. Yeah.
That honey, cloves, cinnamon sticks, I think that's it. I don't know. And then when I give it to them after I've boiled it into it gets pretty thick. Then I boil it. Then I add a little bit of hot chocolate into their cup to give it some sweet.
Yeah.
For them. So.
They love it. If they're sick, it's the first thing they ask for is the specialty. Pretty cool.
Well, and you cook it in a saucepan on the stove and cook it for a long time. And then once you get the water out of it that you want and strain it, you can go ahead and add more water back to it and keep boiling it again and keep it going all day. And
yeah, that's true though. The house smells amazing, but that's just an aside to the rose water because the rose hips are, and the reason the rose hips you use them is that they are crazy high in vitamin C. So pretty cool. Anyway, so sorry, that was an aside to what we were talking about, but I liked it. To make your rose water, you take your rose petals, 1/2 cup of dried organic rose petals, excuse me, in 8 ounces of water. You bring it to a boil and you simmer it on low for 30 minutes. And then you cool it and strain it and store it in the fridge in an airtight glass jar. All right, so that is how you do it. And then you, again, put it in a spray bottle and spray it around your house. That's the point of it. But That's how you do it. You can also just buy rose hydrosol. What rose hydrosol is what it's the byproduct of making rose oil. So when they distill rose water or rose petals, you get two products. You get the rose oil, which is, of course, a profoundly expensive product. It takes a ton, an inconceivable amount of rose petals to make a tiny bit of oil. But the hydrosol, the water that comes off of it, is the byproduct, and it's the same, it's the same properties, it's the same idea, and so you can use it the same way. And rose hydrosol is actually not that expensive. I would imagine there's a lot of it because it takes so much effort to make it. Okay, so. Oh, you. Oh, don't do that. Okay, I just re-added you, but don't be doing that again.
Okay.
There you are. Okay. All right.
All
The
right.
last thing out of the magazine I want
It
to
did
share
it
with you
again.
guys.
It keeps trying to shut
No,
off.
you're there, sweet. I see your face.
Okay. Can you see me? I'm good.
Yep,
I won't touch
you're
it.
good. Don't touch one more thing, or I'm coming up there. Okay. All right. So check out the magazine. I'm going to be done with it now. Those are the only points I wanted to make from it today. But definitely take a look. And of course, you can find it over at katie-weaver.com under the magazine link. So, Scott, I invited you today to join me on the show because you and I had a conversation about relationships just recently, about Valentine's Day, that I thought might just be useful for our listeners to hear. And so I do feel like it's really important to try to understand how everyone's feeling about topics like this. Every year on One Two Radio, and at One Two Listen too, I hear from people who Valentine's Day is just a really frustrating, painful time of year, or a situation for them. And so that's why I wanted us to talk about it. I wanted to be able to see both sides of it. So here's where the conversation began, right? You were saying you don't really understand why women, whether they're in a relationship or not, why they care, because it truly is just a trumped up holiday that, to create income. It's a retail holiday, like so many others have become. It is a retail holiday. It's a Hallmark holiday. And you have been tempted, I know, in the past to kind of just boycott it because that pisses you off, right? But then maybe didn't dare. But at any rate, so because that's how you feel about it, you were feeling like, why do women care, right? What do you want to say? I mean, I'm taking the whole floor. What do you want to say?
Why do they get so worked up when they don't get exactly what they think they deserve? No, that's wrong. That sounds bad. Sounds really bad.
I will fix that. Yeah.
Why are they concerned? I don't know. I just I know that when we hear people talk and about Valentine's Day, and they'll be upset because they don't show enough appreciation, even though they do something for them. So the husband or the boyfriend or anybody, the girlfriend, does something for their significant other. Maybe it's little. Maybe it's something that they wouldn't have thought of. Maybe they buy them a teddy bear and they're upset because they wanted a diamond ring. I don't know. And instead of just being content with that, or, they wanted the flowers sent to work, and they wanted the candlelit dinner when they got home, or they want, I don't know.
Okay. So I think what you're trying to say is that for you, it has felt like it's just so materialistic. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it feels like it's just never enough.
And you feel like perhaps the male counterpart is set up to fail.
I think that everybody that you have in a relationship, you have the diehard romantic and the not so diehard romantic. Does that make sense? So you have the person who wants you to show all this affection through things and through actions, and the other person that is like, I show my love by coming home every day, or by being here every day, or by, I don't know. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Absolutely. I mean,
Just
essentially,
being
you're just,
part of the family or being part of the relationship.
yeah. So essentially, you're saying that some people show their love through service, right?
Right.
I mean, basically, we're talking about various love languages, that people
Right.
give and receive love in different ways, which is true. And I wanted to, Linda said, I would rather get something on an off day completely surprised. Who cares about Valentine's Day specifically? It's so routine and expected. And I think that really mirrors a lot of what you said to me about Valentine's Day.
Right.
Is that why does it have to be this day?
We should have had Linda here because she would have been more eloquent in her way of saying it versus mine. Anyway.
Well, I think she summed it up for you pretty nicely, though, right? I mean, that's pretty much what we're hearing. Okay, so here's where it's at for me. I think that it's not, for me personally, okay, it's not so much for me about what you receive or what you don't receive. What I felt like is that it's for a lot of women, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. I just want to hear what you guys think. But for me, it isn't about what you get or even getting anything. And I don't really care about Valentine's Day as far as like receiving a gift. Okay. But what I think is really what women are saying is that they do want to receive some affirmation sometime. And unfortunately, what I think we have discovered is that we've fallen into pretty lazy and complacent relationships in general, that couples forget to nurture that relationship, and of course, I mean, and maybe lazy is an unfair term, but we get really busy with our lives, right? Everyone gets so busy with their lives, with work, with children, with health, with hobbies, with a million things. And I think that to me, what a day of celebrating love could be, what I would love to see it be, would be a day of just reminding us to nurture that relationship, right? Obviously, sometimes it's a day for somebody to proclaim a want for that relationship, but that's it. In long-term relationships, that's where I see it. Is that perhaps it could just be a reminder of, hey, maybe this is an opportunity for you to put the brakes on the rest of life and focus on each other for a moment. I mean, is that a fair statement, do you think?
Well, I think that that we've got so we've got these set guidelines in our life that society has put out for us, and that these guidelines are how we show love, or how we express love, or how we interpret love. And so under these preset notions, or these social media notions, or these religious notions, we've found that this is the only way that you can express love. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do one of these things in this area, then you're not expressing love. You're not showing love.
Sure.
And I think that's where we have to find a way to meet in the middle, or to meet in that way, is that we need to find, but we need to look at other ways of showing love. Okay? For me, Katie shows love when she gets up and does the dishes. Why? Because it doesn't happen very often. And so when it does, you're like, wow. Or when she gets up and does the laundry, it's like, oh, thank you. She's showing love to her kids by making sure that they have clothes to go to school. Now,
Okay.
do the kids recognize that as love? No, they recognize that as expecting that out of you.
Yeah.
And that's not true. That's not true. They should be looking at that as a show of love. And I think when it comes to Valentine's Day, it should be the same way. I don't think that it should be just a day. I mean, there's a holiday for every single day of the year. 365 holidays we have.
It's true. You could celebrate literally every day.
Every day you could celebrate a holiday.
But does anything really matter besides National Pickle Day?
Well, or National Pie Day,
There's that. So I guess things do. Yeah.
So why is it that we've cherry-picked certain holidays and we put stress on them as that they are the most important days?
Yeah.
Well, Hallmark has done that. And the candy industry has done that. And the rose industry has done that. And they've gone, hey, this is the day that we're going to stress this stuff instead of, every day.
Yeah.
And that's the key to me is that if you look at what people are doing for you and show that as love, then that's it. The word love in my opinion, has become too overly used. I've heard people say, I love you over, you helped them shovel out their driveway. That's not love. That's appreciation. I mean, that's humanity. That's going out and doing something for somebody that couldn't do it for themselves, or it would have taken them a long time to do it themselves, and you help them out. That's not love. That's appreciation. Okay. So instead of saying, hey, I appreciate you for doing this, or hey, thank you for coming out and doing this, and it meaning thank you, they go, oh, I love you. You're so kind. You're so nice, And no. Love, that's not love. I think love as a word, it gets overused, drastically overused.
Yeah. So perhaps almost we've gotten lazy about just throwing that term out instead of, I hear my kids say this. I hear our kids say this all the time. Oh, I love so-and-so. I love so-and-so. They also use best friend in that way. Right. When I was a kid, you had a best friend. You had one best friend. That's kind of, you recognize that person as your best friend, right? Well, our kids have multiple best friends. Yeah. They'll have someone that they've met for 5 seconds and they're like, oh, I love so-and-so. She's my best friend. You're like, what are you talking about? You've known her for 3 seconds. She's my BFF,
but,
yeah.
Oh, we're BFFs, and you're like, dude, you only met one time. Oh, but with social media, we talk all the time. You're like, okay, well,
maybe you know each other better than I think. Yeah.
But I mean, those are other words that are that way. I have completely different beliefs on a lot of stuff in that area. I love my wife and I love my kids. Above and beyond that, I appreciate things people do for me. I appreciate this. I appreciate that. But that's me as far as how mine goes. That's how I leave it.
I think that's fair, and I think there's some truth to that in the way we express ourselves. And
I just got a Snapchat from my sister. It's going to say, what, you don't love me? Okay.
Your sister doesn't watch my show. It's all good. Okay. Well, I agree with that. I do. Kat says maybe with the kids, it's a sign of them connecting harder and deeper. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I think it's true that we have taught our kids to really reach out to love unconditionally in ways that maybe it is. I'm going to give you that one too. It's an interesting conversation and probably one for...
I love that idea. If our kids are growing up to connect at a better level and a more understanding and a more accepting level, and love is the way that they're going to use it to do it, then keep using the word. I'm not going to say no, because we've got to a world and got to an environment where we don't appreciate our neighbors, and we don't appreciate the guy next door, or because he's a different religion or a different color or a different beliefs, that he isn't as important or that we can't associate with them. And so if that's the deeper level that they have to use that word love to get to that deeper level, to have respect and understanding and passion for, then I guess I have to give that word up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would gladly give that word up if that means that's where they're going.
Yeah.
But if they're not, and they're just using that word as another,
Well, it's a lazy way to not necessarily express themselves, or to, dig deeper for another word. That one's just at the surface. Another place, and that's when we were first married, you had a habit of not, hold on, I'm going to re-add you. When we were first married, if I said, I love you to you, you would not say it back. And it used to really offend me and bother me. And then, and it wasn't, so I'm going to repeat that for the live stream. But when we were first married, now we've been married for 20 years,
Right.
we're old married people, but, and we dated for 6 years before we got married. So we've been together much longer in our lives than we have not. Right. But when we were first married, I would say, I love you to you, and you wouldn't parrot that back to me. And it really bothered me because that was
There's
my.
The key that you just said right there.
It is. Yep. It used to bother me because it was ingrained in me that you say I love you, and that person parrots it back to you. But you would always, you said, I'm not doing that because that doesn't, well, I'm going to let you explain why, what is that to you?
Well, it's in the word that you just said. You knew what I was going to say, so you used it. But in the word parrot,
yeah,
I'm not going to repeat just because I have to. I'm not going to take the word and be, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm not. Go for it. You know what I mean. And anybody,
what was that? You're not going to say it back just because it was said to you, because then it didn't mean
exactly
anything.
It didn't mean anything. A parrot will say any word that you can teach them to say. They don't understand the context that it's in. True. I could teach a parrot to say I love you, and they get a cracker. And so every time they say I love you, you give them a cracker. It doesn't mean that they really love you. And so repeating it back when somebody says it is nothing more than parroting a word, and so you're not going to get it. And I still don't.
Mm-hmm. I know. And guess what? It bothers the kids.
Yeah.
Particularly our daughter, Matea.
I've
said, I love you. You should say it back.
I'm not going to say it back to you today because of it. And it makes, it upsets me. But it's not worth the fight that it gets her on it. Or I'll get her to it. I know it's coming, and I will say it, I love you first, so that, so that I beat her, because it does. It's always bothered me, and I'm not sure why.
Well, then it's just a game.
But it's a game that I'm winning with her, because if I don't say it first, then she says it. It's like ingrained into me that if she says it first, then I just have to say, oh, okay, and walk away, because I just can't say it. I don't know why. It just...
But you are saying it, and I have to say that as a medium, talking to so many people whose families, who have lost a parent, okay, I have been stunned and astonished by how many people I've spoken to who have told me, my dad never told me he loved me, not one time. I never heard those words. And I have a dad on the other side that's saying, I couldn't get those words out. I didn't know how to say that. I couldn't do it. And moms, this is not exclusive to dads, but I've heard it more from people about their dads. And I have dads on the other side who are so proud of these children, or these, adult children probably, but of these humans that their spirits are so indelibly connected to. And in this lifetime, at least as far as they remember, never one time said I love you out loud to their children. And so I think that saying it does mean something. It does.
But they're not saying it, okay? They're not saying it, but are they also the first one to load you up in the car to make sure that you go to softball practice? Are they the first ones to load you up in the car to make sure that you go to softball to work out 3 days a week? Are they the ones who pay for you to go to every training and every camp that you possibly can because they know that your dream is to play football in college, and so they load you up every time to go there?
Right.
That's how they're saying I love you without having to say it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you recognize that. But that's the same as Valentine's Day. So they don't think that their dads love them with all the things that they did for them. And even if it's the older generation believe that by going to work, bringing home a paycheck, and keeping them under a house and food in the house, because maybe they grew up during the Depression and there was hardly food in the house. And so they were like, by me making sure that there's food in the house for my kids, I'm showing the greatest amount of love that I possibly can. But did the kids see that? That's the key.
Yeah. Well, I think they did. I mean, I hear that a lot too. He showed it, but he never said it, you know. But I think there's a lot of weight in the word. And because of that, and because of this conversation that's been ongoing for us for all of these years, I've really, I catch myself at night, you know, so stopping by each of the kids' bedrooms before I go to bed and saying, good night, I love you. And then from their bedroom, night, love you. And I realized not too long ago that we are parroting back to each other. These aren't, there's weight in the word, but perhaps there could be more. You know, it's become so routine. And so I've started throwing in an extra phrase. Good night, I love you. I hope you feel better tomorrow. Good night, I love you. Great job on that report today. Or, you know, making sure that I put something in that conversation that isn't just the word, because I agree. It's just a word, but my God, it seems like in our society it has, you're right, it is the most overused word. It is a word that carries an incredible amount of weight. And frankly, it's a word that I think that people can withhold, sometimes selfishly, sometimes jealously, sometimes out of cruelty. I hear sometimes from people going through relationship issues that their partner will say to them, I don't love you. And it tears their heart out. And then later, of course, I didn't mean that. I do love you. And it's incredibly cruel. And so it is a word, and maybe it's a trite word sometimes, maybe it's an overused word, but it's also a word that has the power of a wrecking ball, right?
Yeah. Well, and love is showing in actions too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that we also have to teach our kids, or to understand in each other, is that what actions we do. You know, by you going in and checking on those kids every night, that is love, whether you say it or not, you know. And do they recognize that? They probably do more than we realize, you know. But sometimes, you know, sometimes our kids will be that some way. You know, mom doesn't love me or dad doesn't love me because he's this way, or because he's mean to me, or because he doesn't say it back. And sometimes you have to respond to them, you know.
Right.
Well,
but Jen's...
But away from kids, back to adults.
Wait. Sorry, I can't let you get off that easy. Jen's pointing out in the comments here, you know, but what if she just needs to keep hearing it? You know, what if Matea just needs that validated in her every day? Not because it's a game, not because I want to say it first, so, you know, so it's not a parroting back, because the truth is what she needs should trump what, you know, that if this is what she needs right now, then this is what we give her right now, right? And if she needs to constantly hear that her dad loves her, and little girls need to hear their dads love them. They do. And so do big girls. And so I think that there is a balance there, right? In just recognizing what your loved one needs and giving them that, because that's what they need, not whether it makes you uncomfortable sometimes or not. I mean, do you think that's fair?
A little bit, but I also think it's unfair. Okay? Because
Okay.
if I do that and I parrot it back to her, and she puts so much weight in that word, then when any guy comes along or any girl or anybody comes along in her life, all they have to say is that word and they've won. They won her heart, even though are they a good person to her? Are they abusive
Right.
to her? Are they verbally abusive? Are they mentally abusive? Are they just not a good person for her? And all they have to say is, I love you, and they win, no matter what.
Right. But you, again, you're making about winning and losing.
No, because
But you're right. I mean, love, the word love can be used to manipulate
exactly. So if
terribly.
she is so if somebody's so dominant on the word love, and you learn that about them, then you can use that word to control them.
Yeah.
You can use that word to manipulate them.
Oh, yeah. I see
And
that
so,
all the time.
and so that's not where we want to go either. And so when I look at it, I go, okay, you know, show love because that's more powerful than telling it. And that's what I
Okay.
want to see. But, back to Valentine's Day. So if you come home, you know, I mean, because we could go on kids all day long, but we've got to find a way to interpret this into how to deal with how Valentine's Day in 7 minutes.
We might have to continue this conversation next week. I
No,
suspect that we will. It
and
will be actually Valentine's Day.
I know, but yeah, that'll be great. Um, well, it's you sending present, like you sending presents to the kids at school. You're telling me already. Well, what can I do? What do I send? What do I take to school to
Hmm.
them to school? Already thinking about that, and I'm
Hmm.
going, just leave it on the counter for them.
Hmm.
Why not? Why can't there's a present for them when they get home? Why can't it just be sitting on the table when they get home?
This is a yearly argument that we have. And every year, but here's why to me, okay? To me, I always take them gifts to school, always flowers for the girls, and usually for our son, food, always food, because he's a teenage boy. It's always food. But I always take it to their school and drop it off and let it be delivered to them at school because, and maybe this is one of those ways that we get manipulated, but because all of their friends' moms do. And if you don't, then honestly, it hurts. And right or wrong, that's what I've discovered over the years is that, and then I kind of go on the other side of the coin that, but because we do this, other kids end up hurt at school because their mom didn't. And that sucks too. And so maybe we should not deliver gifts at school because of that. I don't know. I mean, that's a that's a hell of a conversation. It creates a little moral divide in me. A couple of years ago, the student body president at the junior high delivered a rose to every single girl in the school. His parents helped him pay for it, and they had the means to pay for it. But he showed up the morning of school with literally a rose for every single girl in the school because he was worried that they wouldn't get something. We've also seen kids do that with balloons and with sugar cookies to make sure that nobody got left out, which is a pretty amazing thing. Uh, but anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But that is why I always take their stuff to them at school because if I don't, I feel like it hurts their feelings and they get left out of that. And I want them to have great Valentine's Day memories. I know a lot of people, Valentine's Day is just, about showing your love to as a couple to each other. But I grew up in a house where my parents always did something sweet for us on Valentine's Day. I always do something for my sisters. And, this is a day for me of spreading love around, not just for Scott, though, even though, after this conversation, I'll still do something nice for him. But anyway, that's my
Don't
opinion
send
on
it to
it.
my work. Just don't send it.
I won't. No, I definitely won't. That's how it works for me, and that's why I always do it this way. Um, but this bothers you. It bothers you every year. So what is it about gifting them at school? Or is it gifting them? I mean, what is it about Valentine's Day and hauling roses and teddy bears to school that offends you so?
Um, I think more or less it's the idea still, like you just talked about. What about those kids that don't get anything? I love the student body president that takes roses to every girl in the school. I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
But
It was.
I also
We pulled up to drop our kids off as he was unloading an unbelievable amount of flowers out of their van. It was cool. It was fun to see it.
and so in that situation, I think that's phenomenal. But I also think that there's girls and maybe boys in this group. I don't know, because my son, he would be fine if you would just leave it in the pickup or leave it at home. He doesn't care.
But yeah,
He doesn't want it at school.
No, he doesn't want to pack it around.
Yeah, he doesn't want the responsibility of going to get it. He doesn't want, all those things. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We have 3 minutes, and I could go for 10 minutes on this. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest reason is that I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So, if you're sending flowers to your girlfriend or your wife at an office building, and there's another girl that's just broke up with her boyfriend 2 stalls down or whatever, and she's not getting anything, and she sees flowers brought in, then it just brings up more hurt in her. Does she deserve that? No. Do you deserve them? Yes, I'm sure you do. But what about her? Or what about the guy whose wife just died 2 stalls down, and this is his first Valentine's without her? And everybody's put this pressure on him that Valentine's Day is all about love, and so he gets to grieve more, Or
Yeah.
his wife's been dead for a year, and this is the first Valentine's without her, or they always did something special on Valentine's Day, and we're just driving that in. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I think
We
they're all
have to
valid
associate with what's going on around us, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously, we can't cover this whole cow in an hour. I am going to invite you to join me again next week so that we can finish hammering this conversation out. If any of you want to send a question or a comment or, bring up a point that you'd like us to discuss, please do, because we are going to finish this with less tech problems.
Yeah.
We actually got some phenomenally exciting news in our family yesterday, and we're not totally publicly announcing it yet, but I think we can here within our trusted friends. So you guys know that our son is a football player. You know that we have been working all year. He's a senior in high school on getting him into a college to play college football. That's been a huge long-term goal of his. We have worked so hard. I won't go into how hard, but so hard. We've taken many trips to colleges, to recruiting events. We've talked to a billion coaches. We've applied to a million colleges. It's a huge deal to get recruited and to do all of the work. And yesterday, we were in Caldwell, Idaho, which is about 5 hours from our house, for the day at a recruiting event and a scholarship event. And our son finally, committed. I was going to let you say it.
Oh, sorry.
He finally gave a verbal commit to, I believe, what will be his school. So anyway, that's just really exciting news at our house. We're on cloud nine about it, and it's nothing is done until they're on that field. But it was also a little reality check because they want him there at the beginning of the summer to start training, which made me start counting months and go, oh my God, this is happening, and it's happening soon. But anyway, exciting news at our house, and it's just fun to get to share it a little bit.
Right now.
I know, we're out of time. Okay, so anyway, more to come next week on the Love Conversation. I want to thank you guys all for being here. Scott, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you. I love you. And I want to invite you guys to stay tuned. There's so much more great radio to come, and you'll find me tomorrow with the Psychic Sisters here on 1-2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.